What's up, guys? It's Jay with Bearded Dad Fishing. I got my boy Jake Stem. We're gonna install the NK180Pro on my Old Town Sportsman PDL 120. We're gonna do the unboxing, we're gonna do the full walkthrough, but first, dad joke of the day. How do you make a waterbed bouncier? You add spring water. All right, so let's jump into the unboxing. Got this beautiful box, the Newport vessel NK180Pro. Comes with all the goodies. Woo, excited. So we got the controller. We got the mounting bracket, which is gonna be super important for where we're putting this on the kayak. And of course, we got the actual motor itself. Money. So let's dig into it and see what we gotta do to get it installed. First thing I noticed is that this thing is really not that heavy. So if you're thinking about adding this to your kayak, I was debating between this and the NK300, which is also a great option. It's only $200 more than this motor right here, but this one is 5 pounds lighter. I think this one's about 14 pounds. But in addition to that 5 pounds that you add for the motor itself, you also add some weight when you jump up to the battery because the NK300 is a 36 volt. So that battery is going to be significantly heavier than our 24 volt battery, which we have right here. Now this is the 50 amp hour 24 volt by lead time. And this battery is loaded with Bluetooth, so I can monitor it from my cell phone, and I'm super excited about that. It's gonna go perfect with my other batteries because I've been using lead time all year for my Autopilot 136, and I have the 50 amp hour 12 volt on the way so that I can monitor my electronics on the water as well. In addition to the battery, also got the charger. The charger sometimes is overlooked because people wanna get the motor, wanna get the battery, but you need a good charger. Again, this charger is directly from lead time. It's a 24 volt charger and it's a 20 amp charger, which means it charges super fast. You're talking about charge times of maybe an hour and a half on average. So a couple other things you need for the install besides the battery, charger, and the motor itself. On this specific kayak, the Sportsman PDL, I have a mounting plate from Navarre Kayak Fishing. Now you don't need a mounting plate because this already has the anchor mount. So this mount right here is meant for the power pole. But this pattern right here also works perfectly for the Newport motors as well. So you can mount it directly to here if you'd like. The benefit of adding a mount like this is that it offsets it a little bit. So instead of being at an angle, it brings it in line with your kayak. So you will have it just like this, and it's gonna be heading straight instead of cocked into the side, kind of throwing you to the side, because I'm still gonna be steering with this rudder right here. And I'm not gonna be doing foot steering for the motor itself. Another thing you gotta worry about is how you're gonna mount your controller. So I went with a ram mount. This is track mounted on the bottom, and at the top, it's a diamond plate that will actually fit the exact pattern of the Newport vessel throttle controller. Something else is some pad eyes just to guide the ropes along the side of your rear tank well. You can also use the track mounted eyelets as well if you have tracks on the rear of the kayak, and also some cleats to lock in the rope when you lift your motor. These are actually really inexpensive, just like $5, and this kit on Amazon was just $10. One thing to note too, depending on what kayak you have, they might not be available for the Navarre Fishing mount. You might need to get a one objective mount or one of the other aftermarket mounts available depending on what you have. There's ones for natives, for Hobies, for new canoes, whatever it is, there's a mount for it. So just make sure you look up the correct one.
Alrighty guys, so we're gonna get started with the mounting. Like Jay mentioned, these are recessed threads already from Old Town with their newer models, so it fits the power pole micro anchor and it fits the actual bolt pattern on this. But as you can see here, what Jay was saying is it cocks your motor off to the side, so you're pointing at an angle, so it's gonna be a lot harder to steer. With the Navarre plate, it's gonna make the motor more straight, so instead of pushing at an angle, it's going to be pushing your boat forward, and it's going to make steering your kayak a lot easier. If you have an older model kayak, you might not have these threads inserted molded into the kayak. I have a video of mine. I did a DIY transom motor. Don't get the speed as much as Newport, but it gets the job done. And then I was able to use the exact same Newport, and I actually mounted it here. If you don't have these, you can refer back to my channel. Jay can link that down below. First things first is we're going to mount the Navarre Fishing mount right on these, and then we're going to get this bolted on, and honestly it's going to be super simple. Now we're gonna bolt this bad boy on. Easy as that, 4 bolts, and that thing ain't going nowhere. We'll show you how the motor goes on, and then it's just running the ropes for pulling up, raising and lowering the motor. All right guys, and the rest of the mount bracket box, you have your throttle control cable. This will go to the motor, and then the other end will go to the controller, which will be up front. You have your connection that's gonna attach to your 24-volt battery to the other end, which is off the motor there, plugs right in. They already have it wired, which honestly is super nice and easy. No wiring need to be done. Literally attach to your battery, plug in, and you're ready to go. Here are your steering cables. If you guys do foot steering, they come with steering cables, which is super nice. But like I said, we're gonna be using the rudder already. Jay has on the aftermarket metal rudder from Navarre Kayak Fishing. And then the rest of the stuff is stuff for your pulling ropes. You have 2, like I said, 1 for lifting, raising and lowering the motor. You got 1 for reverse. They send you tools, which is super nice. You have your magnet control. So this is a magnet. That's how you turn your throttle on and off. And I believe there's 2. So you should have an extra 1. Your raise and lower bar, and just everything else you need for the motor. So we're gonna finish up, I think, doing the motor first, and then we'll run the pulleys for raising the motor, and then we'll do the control arm. Other than that, we're pretty much done already. It's super simple, super fast.
Super simple, super fast.
We're next gonna just mount the motor first before we add anything else to it. And this one, if you guys have the older Newport, is actually a little bit different. As you can see here, it's just a single hole. The older mount is like a big U that comes all the way up from the bottom. And what you see here is these tiny clips. There's an extra one in the bag. Don't lose it, because we almost did that. But all you do is you're gonna pull off one of these, pull this off, slide it through your motor, and clip it back on, and it's gonna be attached. Simple as that. This motor's hanging super low because we didn't add the rest of the stuff to it yet. But yeah, that's the first part. And then we're gonna add the rest of it to it, the lifting bar, and adjust everything else. So the next thing we're gonna attach is the bar here, which mounts up on the back. This is gonna be clipped up here, so to raise and lower the motor. So there are instructions, which, you know, make sure you use them. Don't be like most men, like myself. We don't need them. What's nice, like I mentioned before, is they provide the tools. So super easy. So we're gonna attach this steering triangle, I think it's called, or lifting triangle. I don't know. It's a bar to raise and lower the motor. Alrighty, so the 2 bolts that are in here already, they're actually already in your, this is the steering triangle, by the way. It is already in here, so you're gonna wanna take this out, and then your bar is gonna go through this bolt, and then you're gonna reattach it. And before you guys fully tighten this one back up, you want to make sure that your steering triangle here, which generally you're going to use for foot steering, which we're not going to use, but this is the lift. I'm going to tighten this up. This is the lift and lower your motor, and you adjust it by here. And what you see is there's a pin right here, and that pin, when it lines up with the hole in this metal, that prevents it from steering left and right. So if you're a person that's using a rudder system to turn, you're gonna wanna lock this motor in, so that way it can't turn on you, or else when it turns and turns the rudder, you're gonna be crap out of luck. So another thing to install is your trim right here. So this is a little beam that goes through these holes, and this is to adjust, once it goes through, how much angle your motor has. Because see, right now it goes way up under. So once we put this through, it's gonna stop the motor at a certain point. So we're gonna go through all the way through that front one, and you can see here, now that motor doesn't go forward anymore. So when it thrusts and starts pushing the motor, it's not gonna go up underneath your kayak. I don't even know why you would use it all the way out here, to be honest. Maybe if you want it up higher, if you're in really shallow water, but honestly, I've never really seen anyone personally use it in any other setting than this one that has it perfectly perpendicular. All right, so that's on there, so it can't go forward anymore. And then we're gonna just, like I said, mess with the height of the motor, which honestly, that's pretty good. If you're a river guy like myself, you might want it shallower, but Jay's mainly a lake guy currently. We're gonna try to get him to fish rivers, but
get me on the Susky.
Yes, sir. But right now, line it up as straight as can be, and we're gonna tighten up those bolts. So to make sure that we actually get this straight on, I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but this is the pin that goes through into here. And it's actually, I like that, it's an Allen key. And that way this will keep the motor from turning once this goes all the way in, and that way we can make sure we get a good straight when we tighten up the steering triangle. It's locked in there, so that prevents the motor from, like we said, turning left or right. So now you can literally just loosen up the 2 bolts here and just slowly, lightly adjust the motor to get as straight on as you can. See, if it's easy to turn or if it doesn't want to turn one way or the other, it could just be the lightest little adjustment of this. So that looks pretty good. So we're going to tighten up these bolts and then get to the next step. All right, so we got those 2 bolts tightened up and motor's straight. Motor's not turning left and right. Well, you'll see right here, this is when you attach this, when you pull this, you'll see in here that this locks down on that tilt bolt, and that is what prevents it from coming back. See how that? So if you use reverse, if you don't pull the reverse cord, when you do reverse, your motor's gonna come up to the surface like this, go absolute crazy. But if you want reverse, you can pull that pull cord. But again, if you hit something with this pulled, it's not gonna kick up, where if you hit a rock with this, it's gonna come right over it. So we're gonna start mounting the pulleys and the rope and honestly the control box, and I don't know if there's anything else to it. So we jumped the gun because we're trying to figure some stuff out, but the motor is good to go. To take the motor on and off each time, all you do is detach the lifting rope right here. Detach it right here, and then you can just clip it on right here, and then the motor comes off. Unscrewing that, take the 1 pin out, boom, motor's in the truck. When you get to the lake, put the motor on, attach the steering cable, or the lift cable I should say, not steering. Just like that, tighten it on there. So generally, you're gonna have 1 carabiner, locking carabiner, a pulley, and another locking carabiner. And it goes right like this up. And then if you're attaching the reverse, you'll add it here. But what I did is, I took the extra pulley and the extra carabiner from the reverse, because running the rope up along this side is a pain for the old towns, because you have your rudder system turning right here. And you don't want that rope covering as you're trying to turn your rudder and get stuck. Plus, the graph's right there. So what we're thinking of doing is, when you add pulleys, it always subtracts the amount of weight it causes. We first tried pulling it from over on this angle. I had Jay pull it, and it was heavy. There was a lot of force to pull it and lift it up. But now that we added a second pulley here, it actually takes way less, because what we're gonna do is add a couple of these, probably 2, specifically right here, to take on the force of lifting it. It's a little DIY just to make it work out. But this way, we're gonna put 2 of these here, and then a couple more as we run up the side of the kayak. And this way, this rope will run all the way up, where right now we're gonna have to rig it where you pull it up and lock it in the cleat. We're gonna attach the rest of those guides for the rope and kind of see how we get it to run right up through here. So we're gonna add 2 of these supports just in the corner, because this is where the main force of that rope coming across. We're gonna go underneath the rudder, so that way when you come in, the rudder will just sit right on top of it. That's fine. For how we're doing it now, you can literally, we're gonna screw these 2 things in and we should be ready to rock and roll. I think we're gonna rock 1 for now. This isn't getting too hot with the rope. But honestly, it's not like you're lifting and lowering your motor non-stop all day. So we're gonna add a few more up through here and run that cable right up. And then we're gonna add on the cleat, and then we're pretty much done. And the controller. After we do this, then the controller, duh. Because we can't control it without a controller, if you did not know.
How many people are gonna be like, you're not supposed to use power drills on the kayak?
Just gotta be careful with power tools.
Yo, if you guys are not already subscribed to Jake's channel, I'm gonna link it down below. So make sure you guys subscribe to Papi Juice right here for the installs. And hit him up if you got a question about the installs, because he's way better at this than me. Hence why I trust this guy. He's drilling mad holes in my kayak.
I'm gonna have to change my channel name to Papi Juice.
Papi Juice Fishing, bro. If you guys want him to change his channel name to Papi Juice Fishing, comment it down below.
Nah, video's gotta get 1,000 likes.
1,000 likes.
1,000 likes.
And then you're gonna change it?
Rebranding it all. Do you normally get 1,000 likes?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Some big ones. No, you said it already.
5,000 likes. Alrighty guys, so how I mounted these cleats, they're super nice and easy. They're literally like, what, $8 for 2 of them probably? So what I mounted mine is my personal mount. I added a mount here, but what we're gonna do with Jay's is put it on the track, which is no big deal. I just mount it with one, use a T-bolt, and all you're gonna do is drill out this hole just to a 1/4 inch, just barely, just almost goes through perfectly. Drill this out just a hair bigger, and you're gonna put this through. And what you'll see here is this goes through. I added some washers too, because this bolt's kind of tall. You don't want it too tall. So I added some washers here, but all you're gonna do is drill this out. It's gonna go through here like this. You're gonna put a locking washer right on there, and then boom. You'll see that real quick, super easy, and that'll be done. This is not OSHA approved. Just like that. Literally, barely took any plastic out of it, but now it fits. So, just like that, and we're just gonna add maybe even a washer on top of it and a locking nut, and boom, tighten that down and he's good to go. Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Okay guys, so we got the pulley system done. So the last thing to do is the control arm. Right here, Ray has that ram ball mount he talked about, mounted on a Navarre kayak fishing aftermarket handle, which takes a T-bolt up underneath, which is perfect. This is the other end of the ram ball mount, and as you can see, it matches up perfectly with the 2 holes here for mounting this to this, but you need M2 screws, which we currently do not have. So just imagine 2 screws right in here, and then the throttle control will be right up in here, perfectly nice. You can adjust it with the ram ball mount. And the only thing we're noticing now is the control cable has to be connected here, as you can see, and then runs all the way back here, all the way to the motor. So this is where your power gets clipped into the other end. It goes to your battery and then your control. But this is gonna have to go inside your truck every time when you take it inside. So it's a small pin connection, something that you probably don't want to keep doing and undoing. Maybe, you know, when this is stretched out, maybe get the controller through here, hug the cable here a little bit, maybe underneath the seat, kind of just, because there's a lot of cable here and you don't want it laying out in the water or anything. So you're kind of just gonna have to lay it on, maybe, you know, underneath in the corner here. It's gonna be kind of a hit or miss first couple trial run to see where he wants it laid up, and then as you get on the water more, figure out where you like it. But I would advise that, so that way all you gotta do is undo the ram ball mount. This will be mounted to the bottom of the controller arm, so you literally will grab this, pull up all your controller cable, unhook the motor here, and grab this stuff, and that's going to get loaded up. So this will be inside your vehicle at all times. The motor will be inside the vehicle at all times. So we're going to connect this up to the lead time 24 volt 50 amp hour battery, and then get the magnet, as Jay has over here set up. This is your kill switch, guys. Always have this connected to your PFD. There's a video going around of Christine Fisher from years ago jumping off her kayak for a frisbee, and she didn't have her kill switch attached, so the motor just kept going and going and going. If you fall out of your boat and this thing keeps going, you are up a creek without a paddle, as they like to say.
And always carry a spare.
Yes, always carry a spare. So let's hook up the battery, get it plugged up, and get this thing plugged up, and let's see what it looks like.
So we're gonna be powering this setup with the lead time 24 volt 50 amp hour battery with Bluetooth. Again, game changer, and especially for the price, this is one of the best priced 24 volt batteries on the market. I'm gonna link it down below along with a discount code to get 6% off this battery. So check the link down below. But we're gonna have the battery on this, inside of this Black Pack Pro. We're gonna use a through hole kit from Yak Attack to make a 1-inch hole right here so that this battery cable will sit right inside. And what's gonna hang out is essentially this part right here with the clip, and it will just unclip. So this will be hanging out. The rest of this will be inside of the Black Pack, again, connected to this battery. Clean. All right, we got it all hooked up. We have the cables going for the battery, 24 volts, coming right out of the Yak Attack through hole kit, clipped into the NK180Pro. Power showing, so we're good to go. Now we could test it out and see if it's really working.
Woo!
So we're running at 100% right now, and your display will show here your voltage, your power, and your wattage. And I'm gonna bring it down a little bit so it's not so fast. But again, the importance, like Jake said, of having this kill switch on here attached to your PFD. That way when you pull it, it turns it off just like that. And it'll start beeping to let you know something's missing. So when you put it back on, we reset the throttle and you're good to go. So always keep that kill switch attached to you and keep an extra one with you as well. All right, just a final run through. We got the entire NK180 Pro set up. We got the pins in place. We got the mount. We got the Navarre kayak fishing offset mount as well. So we did some minor adjustments where we're not using the reverse rope. However, we are utilizing the pulley and the carabiner here so that it is easier to pull when I'm in the seated position, because we're not running this on the left hand side, we're running it on the right hand side. So once it's all mounted and ready to go, we added the pad eyes here, 1, 2, and then 3 right here by the throttle control. As you can see, we have the throttle control set up. It's on a ram mount, 1-inch ball set up, and it's track mounted to the diamond plate, which is on the throttle control. And then we got the battery set up. Again, running the lead time 24 volt 50 amp hour smart battery. We're keeping it in the Black Pack Pro, and we drilled the 1-inch hole with the Yak Attack through hole kit. So that's a nice clean install. We're gonna clean it up. We're gonna button this up. Gonna clean up some of the wires. Now, don't use zip ties when you're messing with these wires, because we tend to cinch them down. So use something like bread ties or electrical tape or something like that. So once I got it set up, it's not gonna be all messy like this. But that's pretty much the entire setup. So super excited to get this out on the water, and make sure you follow Jake Stem on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Papi Juice coming through to help out. And if you thought this video was helpful, check out this one right here. So till next time, guys, peace and God bless.